Hello from beautiful, snowy Northeast Ohio. We have a very exciting adventure today. Not only are we taking electricity in the form of the charge of the batteries to Sanibel Island, Florida, we're also taking electrical gear to get at least 5 homeowners up and running on their electric service. Meter sockets and disconnect switches are in very short supply. So some of our friends here from the construction community helped us out and got us 5 meter sockets and 5 disconnects. They're in the bed of the truck when there's not so much snow on it. I'll show you a picture of that later. And we are headed down there to take them the gear and to, again, run our house somewhat off of the F-150 Lightning while we're there until we get the service reinstalled. We're also excited because we're taking a new route today. It is down Interstate 75 from Cincinnati all the way to Fort Myers. So I've never actually gone that way. I've always gone down 77, but because of the lack of chargers in West Virginia, we're going to avoid that route and go down 75 instead. So come along. Welcome back to E-Hermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. We are on a little bit of a race against the clock on this trip as the Sanibel Causeway closes each night at 9 p.m. It's about 4:30 on Sunday now, and I would like to be on the island by Monday night. That means I can get there no later than 9 o'clock tomorrow night. I have about 28 and a half hours to get there. The GPS says it will take me about 26 hours to get there, so I don't have a lot of buffer. If I get there at 9:15, I have to stay off the island, sleep in the truck, when I could be a few miles from the house in my own bed. So I really want to get there by 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Our first charging stop is at the Kroger in Columbus, Ohio. At the EVgo Fast Charge, it is a 350 kW charger. I'm getting over 170 on it, so even though it says I could leave now, I'm going to stay, and we're going to try to skip the Cincinnati charger and go all the way down to the, I think that's Lexington, Kentucky charger. I did go ahead and decide to skip the Cincinnati charger and shoot for the Lexington, Kentucky charger instead for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Cincinnati charger, it was actually north of Cincinnati. It was quite a ways off the highway. It looked like it was maybe 5 miles off the highway. So that was going to be a hassle. Number two, I appeared to have the range, and I'm confident that I do. And number three, the Lexington charger is actually well north of Lexington. And the circle has me ranged to get all the way through Lexington. So I have a little buffer there, and we're going to go ahead and give it a try. I always say you aren't trying to stretch it if you don't pull in with 5% or less. And here we are. And that is how we got to the Lexington, I think it's actually north of Lexington, Georgetown maybe, Kentucky DC Fast Charger, Electrify America at the Walmart Supercenter. We're going to be here for quite a while for this one because the next charger is quite a ways away. I think we have to go almost through the whole rest of the state. So we'll probably be here till about 80%. We left Lexington with a little bit over 70%. We're going to stop here, I'm not sure where this is, in South Kentucky. And I think we'll be able to skip Knoxville, Tennessee, and get all the way down to Chattanooga and do a deep charge there. So we're going to charge fairly heavy here, skip Knoxville, go to Chattanooga. And I think the next stop after that is Atlanta, or just north of Atlanta. Here we are at the Williamsburg, Kentucky DC Fast Charger at the Walmart Supercenter, of course. We're going to charge pretty deep here, as I said, because we're going to try to skip Knoxville and go all the way down to Chattanooga. All right, change in plans. The charging at Electrify America in Williamsburg, Kentucky sucks. One of them is down, 2 of them are down completely. One says it is, the other one you can't make start. That number 1 folded out on me, and the only one that is actually working is number 2, and I'm getting 33 kWs. So we're not going to stay here very long. In fact, we're going to get just a little bit more, and we're going to head to Knoxville and not be able to skip it. What a waste of time. What an utter fiasco that last charging stop was. Not only did I waste a lot of time on chargers that didn't work, that worked and then shorted out, and that worked very slowly, but now because I got such a relatively small charge in the time I spent there, I have to drive extra slow. I'm only going 60, even though the speed limit's 65. to try to limp my way to the charger at Knoxville. Hopefully that one works, and then we can get back on our way. Because that last station was basically inoperable and we couldn't really get anything out of it, we're gonna go on. We're gonna have to drive slow, 60 miles an hour. We have a third of a battery. We have 66 miles to go at 1.7. I should make it, even though the guessometer says I only have 62 miles and I have 66 miles to go. I did some math. It's going to be really close, but we're going to hopefully get to Knoxville. The Knoxville, Tennessee Electrify America station is not much better than the last one in Kentucky. One that says unavailable, one 150 that works, but I'm only getting 70 some kilowatts. Another one that doesn't work, and the other 150. So half of them don't work, and the ones that do are only giving me about half the speed they should be. Electrify America should be ashamed of themselves. Knoxville turned out to be not such a bad charging stop after all. It got up to about 90 kW as we went along. I actually crawled in the back seat, got about an hour's sleep. So now we are good to go. We are going to be able to skip Chattanooga and go to this one just north of Atlanta. It looks like we will not be able to skip Chattanooga after all. But if we charge there long enough, I know it shows this is the next one, but there's actually one just south of Atlanta. So if I charge in Chattanooga long enough, I can get through Atlanta, hopefully before rush hour, and then charge just south of Atlanta. We made it to the Electrify America just outside Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is just north of the Georgia border. Our goal, as I said, is to charge enough here to skip the next one north of Atlanta and get to the one just south of Atlanta. So I think we'll be here about 20 minutes. If you thought Electrify America was giving us a tough way to go, I drive all this way to the EVgo chargers and they don't work. So now I have to find something because I've got 24 miles of range. So it says it is at my substitute replacement charger, but I've driven around this parking lot several times and there is not one here. So this is strike two. The first one was not really the car's fault because I was so gun shy about Electrify America that I skipped a bunch of them to come to an EVgo. Apparently that was a mistake. So now I really am kind of in the soup here. I've got to find a charger that exists and works. So this one wasn't a case of it didn't exist. The directions were just bad. It was catty corner across the street, across the intersection. I found it on PlugShare. And here we are charging. Just going to charge enough here so I can get to a good fast charger. Maybe it is the sun being up, maybe it is just being further in the trip, but I seem to have better luck here in Forsyth, Georgia. We're getting 141 kilowatt speeds, and it says no charge, which that would be nice if that's true. So we're getting good speeds, we got them to work, we're back on track. I'm going to go back in the truck and find where the next charger they recommend. The rest of the way, I think I'm pretty much going to follow the truck's directions and do what it recommends. We got really good speeds to 80%, over 120 actually. It was going until 80%. Now it's down below 60, so I think I'm going to go. I thought maybe I could skip this one, and technically it says we could get to here, but that's cutting it awful close. I'm also going to go a little bit out of the way to get a cup of coffee. So I think we'll just go ahead and stop at this one real quick, and then we'll be able to get that to that one easy. And then the next one's down in Gainesville. It was really going to be close, and I kind of had to go to the bathroom. So I did stop at Cordell, Georgia, right here. It was not a great experience. I was getting 12 kW. So it's a good thing I didn't need much because I didn't get much. And all the other stations were taken when I came. There were 2 Mach-E's, me, and a Porsche Taycan. So this place was completely full. Now there'll only be 1 Mustang left as I'm leaving. So I'm just going to go on to this one right down here just north of Florida. We made it to Valdosta, Georgia, where we found the Electrify America with one of 4 stations I could get to operate. There was another fella here with a Mustang that I ran to at the last station, and I don't know if he ever got his to work or not. He was having trouble. This is the only one I get to operate, the 150. That is also the Chatham adapter that I try never to use, but it's the only thing that works, so I had to use it. Actually got pretty decent speeds. We're getting 130s. We're into the mid 70s. We're still getting 121, so that's going pretty good. So I think we have 4 more charging stops in Florida. This is our last stop in Georgia. Yes, our next stop will be Gainesville, Georgia, or Gainesville, Florida, I'm sorry. Then we have one around Tampa, and then one down by Punta Gorda. And that'll be the last one. I may top off at a EV charge and go or charge point right before I go to the island. Depends how much time I have. It's more important I get across the bridge than to have a full charge on the island. I can always come back in the morning and charge up and then run the house off that. The Gainesville, Florida Electrify America DC fast charger is at a Target instead of Walmart for a change. But the same frustrations endure. It took me 3 or 4 tries to get the one machine to work. I finally had to pay with my credit card full price, which is fine. I'm not that worried about that. There's 2 other people there trying to charge a Kia and then Hyundai Ioniq, and when I left to go get some food, they were not having any success. So hopefully if they've got something, I'm about done charging. I'm getting decent speeds for me in the 130s. Pretty sad for them, but I don't think they're getting anything yet. So this is probably by far the most frustrating charging trip I've ever taken. Tesla or Electrify America / CCS. It's really pathetic. So by standing on one foot, calling customer service, using a credit card, doing all kinds of crazy things to please the charging gods, we were able to get 3 of the 4 to go. The 4th one's not gonna work though, no matter what. I'm about done. The Ioniq 5's about done. There's a Volkswagen waiting because that 4th one's not gonna work. This is a mess. Electrify America, man, get your act together. So this is while we're making the trip. We have 200 amp disconnect switches and, hard to see up under here, but 200 amp meter sockets. The meter sockets in particular are hard to get down there in Florida, anywhere near Sanibel, Fort Myers. The disconnect switches, the guys, my friends went a little overboard helping me out here. These are like heavy duty commercial 200 amp fuse disconnects. They will certainly work. It's maybe a bit of overkill, but we're glad to have something we can use. I clearly don't need to stop here. I could get down to that charger just past Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg. But if I do that, then that's the last one. But if I stop here for a little bit, I can skip that one and get to the one at Punta Gorda. That will give me a fuller charge when I get to the island, which is one of my goals for the day. I think this is Burrell or Bushnell, something, Florida. Of course, Walmart Supercenter, Electrify America. Wouldn't be an Electrify America station on this trip if at least one of the stations told me, like it did before, that it was unavailable. So we've had to get creative with getting the cord to the truck, and even at that, it's not charging, so we get to start over. But we did finally get it going up to a reasonable speed. More than reasonable, actually. Nice even. Happy. So I technically don't need another stop. I could make it to the house and still have a little bit to spare. And if I was going to do that, I would have driven much slower. But I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is not going to stop at this one that it wants me to stop at. There's one right around here by Punta Gorda. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to get back up to 80%. That'll give me quite a bit of juice to get on the island with, and I can run the house somewhat tonight and tomorrow till I can get off the island to recharge again. So as we said, we do not need to stop and charge to get to the house. But the main reason we're bringing the truck down here is until we can get all the gear that I showed you mounted and inspected and wired and connected and the utility company turning it on, the truck is going to power the house. It's not going to power it like it would if we had the transfer switch and all that stuff. We're basically going to use extension cords. But we're going to use not only the 120 volt 20 amps, we're also going to try to use that 240 volt 30 amp as well. And that's going to be the subject of our next video in the Sanibel series. And as always, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button to be notified when we do upload that new content showing how we're using the F-150 Lightning to power the house. Thank you!
Made it!